Clifford the big red dog. That dog is massive. Like, he's taller than a house. Can you imagine how expensive their vet and grocery bills must be? That would be an insane amount of money. Hey everyone, what's up and welcome back to Most Amazing Top 10. I'm your host, Lindsay Ivan, and today I'm bringing you the top 10 scary Clifford the Big Red Dog urban legends. So for those of you who don't know, Clifford the Big Red Dog was a series of books created by Norman Bridwell. From there, it got its own television show. The series surrounds Clifford, the Big Red Dog, and his owner, Emily Elizabeth. It is said that Clifford was born a normal size, but grew so big because Emily Elizabeth just loved him so much. Oh, how sweet. Okay, time to get spooky. Starting off this countdown, we have the printing error. Now, supposedly there was a lot of difficulties when it came to printing and publishing the first original copies of the book. In fact, there were a lot of printing errors that they caught before they finally made the perfect copy. But somehow one of these wrongly printed copies ended up on the shelves for sale, and a parent unknowingly bought it for their son. Now, what's the big deal with buying a book that may have a little printing error? Like, sure, you could be upset that you spent money on a flawed book, but it's harmless, right? Well, it is said that the error ended up smearing the image of Clifford, leaving him and Emily looking a little disturbing. Apparently, the color got smeared on one of the pages and it made Clifford and Emily look like they were standing in the middle of a bloodbath or a violent murder scene. It terrified the kid and the parent. But of course, this is just a myth to scare the readers. Making our way down the list, number 9, we have the imaginary friend. This legend states that Clifford isn't real. It's just Emily Elizabeth's imaginary friend, meaning everything is in her head and all the adventures she goes on with her pal are fake, which is kind of sad when you think about it. People think that Emily Elizabeth has schizophrenia, which makes her experience realistic delusions. It's also why she imagines Clifford being a massive red dog instead of just a normal sized, normal colored dog. Now, this is just a legend, as you probably guessed, but in fact, Clifford is really named after an imaginary friend. According to the creator, Clifford was named after his wife's imaginary childhood friend with the same name, but her imaginary friend wasn't a dog. In the 8th spot, we have the banned episode. Apparently, there was once an episode of Clifford the Big Red Dog that aired that caused a lot of controversy. Parents were outraged, saying that the episode was too dark and sad for a children's show. As a result, the episode was banned and never aired again. A couple of people on Reddit claim that as a child, they remember watching this episode. Basically, in this episode, Clifford is taken away from Emily Elizabeth and her family. Apparently, they were deemed being unfit for caring for such a big dog. They also claim that they can't afford to feed him or look after him properly. That's when Clifford was forcibly removed from their home and placed in a zoo. Clifford, living in isolation in the zoo without Emily, shrunk back down to his normal size. Then, thankfully, he was returned back to Emily. However, parents said it was a very dark and sad episode that really upset their kids. However, there are no traces of this episode online, so it's just a legend. But I did some research, and boy, would it be expensive to have Clifford as a dog. It said that a dog his size could consume around 540 pounds of food daily. That means he would need to eat around 13.5 bags of 40-pound dog food a day. If those bags cost around $18.99, then the owner could be spending around $256 per day on food alone. Then you would have the extra $300 a month for the spike in water bill to fill a kiddie pool of water for him, and an estimate of over $4,000 a year in vet bills. So, he's expensive. Moving on down the list at number 7, we have the lost episode. So this episode is way more creepy than the previous mentioned episode. Legend has it that somewhere in the depths of the internet there's a lost episode of Clifford the Big Red Dog, and it is not child-friendly at all. Apparently in this episode, it starts off normal, but then Clifford gets rabies and starts aggressively attacking people. He actually attacks and eats his 2 other dog friends, Cleo and T-Bone. Then he starts to attack other members of the town before trying to attack and harm Emily Elizabeth. Clifford ends up getting killed, and the episode ends with Emily Elizabeth and her dad struggling to dig a big enough hole to bury Clifford. Yeah, that's extremely dark. But don't worry, it's not true. There's no such episode out there. Thankfully. In our 6th spot, we have the true story. This legend states that Clifford is actually based off of a true story. It claims that it was about a real girl named Emily Elizabeth who secretly took in a stray dog off the streets and started to look after it without anyone knowing. Apparently, she felt connected to the dog because she related to the dog's lonely feeling. Emily was often poorly looked after by her parents. But with her newfound friend, she felt loved by someone for once. Now, Clifford, of course, wasn't actually a red dog. It said that he was just a reddish-brown color from being dirty because she wasn't able to wash him. Now, of course, this is false, but Emily Elizabeth is actually a real girl. It is the creator, Norman Bridwell's actual daughter with the same name. Apparently, he named the character off of his daughter as a tribute to her. We are now at our fifth and halfway mark with Clifford Kane. What does Clifford the Big Red Dog and Citizen Kane have in common? You wouldn't think much, but apparently it said that they exist in the same universe. Let me explain. While a teacher was reading the book Clifford's First Snow Day to her class, she realized that the book contained a picture of a young boy holding a sled. The sled had the word Rosebud inscribed on it. Now, if you have seen the movie Citizen Kane, you know that Rosebud was the sled that Kane was playing with when he was taken away from his house as a child. So, could this be a tribute to the movie, or is this little boy supposed to represent Kane himself? Moving on to number 4, we have King Kong. This time, this urban legend states that Clifford the Big Red Dog exists in the same universe as King Kong. I mean, okay, let's look at the facts. Kongs are super tall ape-like creatures. Clifford is a super tall dog. Maybe they both exist during a time where animals can grow to extraordinary heights. So in the 2005 version of King Kong directed by Peter Jackson, the ape is said to be around 25 feet tall. Well, guess what? Clifford is also said to be around 20 feet tall. Then in the movie Kong Skull Island, we see other big animals residing on Skull Island. So maybe that can explain Clifford's height. In reality, the creator made Clifford that big because as a young boy, he always wished he could have a dog that he could ride like a pony. Also, when he was sharing ideas with his wife, he said maybe the dog's name should be Tiny, and his wife told him that it was too boring. From there, the Big Red Dog was born. In our third spot, we have the Resurrected Dog. So here's another made-up origin story of Clifford. Legend has it that Emily Elizabeth and her family used to have a normal Labrador Retriever named Clifford. Unfortunately, the dog passed away of old age and it left the family heartbroken. That's when Emily decided to look up how to resurrect dead animals. She ended up performing a resurrection on her dog, but it went wrong, resulting in Clifford being huge and red. It is theorized that he turned red from Emily's blood sacrifice, but there's no explanation for his height. This also explains how the family can afford to feed and house Clifford. It's because he technically is dead, so they don't have to worry about vet bills anymore or feeding him. Moving on to number 2, we have the Big Red Blood Dog. This urban legend states that Clifford is red because the creator used his own blood to paint Clifford. It said that he was so desperate to finish his first version of the book, but he ran out of paint. That's when he decided to mix his blood in with the paint to finish the painting. Yes, that's creepy. But thankfully, not real. The real reason behind why Norman decided to make Clifford red is as simple as this. He stated that, and I quote, "It was red because I happened to have red paint on the drawing table that night." So, sorry guys, it's not as spooky as y'all hoped. And in our number 1 spot, we have Clifford the Big Dead Dog. There are tons of Clifford the Big Red Dog books out there that children just love to read. But this next urban legend is about a boy who discovers a much darker version of the book. So this boy states that his sister was a huge fan of Clifford and had most of the books. It was her birthday coming up and he wanted to surprise her with a book. He talked to his Nana about it and she told him that his aunt was a children's book author who actually wrote a book that was inspired by Clifford the Big Red Dog. She gave him the book and he was going to give this one to his sister for her birthday. However, what he didn't know was that while writing this version of the book, his aunt went a little crazy. So when he opened up the book to give it a read, it was very disturbing. He claims that the whole story was about Clifford dying. It had images of him dead, surrounded by his saddened owner and friends. He kept reading, and at page 12, there was a realistic image of a dog's body cut open. But it wasn't of Clifford. It was a photo of his own dog that ran away 2 years prior. The final page of the book read, "Clifford the Big Dead Dog," in blood-colored writing. Whew! So safe to say that his sister did not receive that book as a present. And that's all for today's video. Let's move on to our comment shout-out portion. I'll be shouting out comments from my video, Top 10 Scary Real Stories That Should Be Turned into Movies, Part 3. Gene F commented, something about a scary movie or suspenseful movie being based on a true story, that is just unsettling. Love it. Honestly, I get that feeling. Like, I'll finish watching a scary movie and I'll be like, okay, whew, thank gosh, it was just fake. And then all of a sudden you'll just see, based on a true story on the screen, and I'm like, well, guess I'm not sleeping ever again. Lavender Grace commented, most amazing is keeping me sane while I'm stuck here in my house. Well, I'm glad. Well, I mean, you got tons of videos to choose from, so you can just binge watch our videos all day. Brandon McCroskey commented, I've been told multiple times by random people I look like Zac Efron. Okay, I mean, hey, that's not a bad thing at all. And that's all the comments I'm shouting out for today. Make sure to comment something down below for a chance to be featured in my next comment shout out. And as always, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to Most Amazing Top 10 for more amazing videos. I've been your host, Lindsay Ivan, and I'll see you when I see you.